So one of the other things I'd like to do for tonight's class is explain the tone, slap, and bass. I'm going to take the gloves off to do this. If you notice, my drum might have sounded a little weird. Oh yeah, I learned this technique. There we go. Supposedly the glove shoots across the room and hits somebody in the eye. Not really. Well, anyway, so much for the Boy Scouts. The Girl Scouts were probably better. Anyway, let's go over tone. So the tone of the drum is the hardest sound to get. The tone of the drum comes from these four pads. 80% of your sound comes from these four padded pads of your underside of your fingertips. 20% sound comes from the bottom half of these, the second joint, and no sound comes from the tip. The tip doesn't actually touch when you play your tone. But this does. See, I'm making it white here. See that white part? That white part is what goes onto the skin right inside the rim of the drum. So you have to be further in than sometimes you think you might have to be. You can't play your tones back here. You have to play all the way so this bump raises up a little bit. Now you know you're in tone position. I'll do that again. Watch me go forward. My hand is down, and then it starts to raise up right about here. And that's where you want to be. And you're trying to get a thuddy, round, full skin on skin contact with the muscle underneath that skin and the tendons underneath. So that was two slaps at the end, but the fingers are open a little bit. I'm going to show you this for the camera. So in the old days, my master teaches that these three fingers went together, and all drummers in many villages in Africa playing djembe played with these three fingers closed and this finger broken off. And that was to play tones like this. So as the new generation started to come up and djembe playing became very popular, we noticed on the streets of Guinea that people's hands were open when the fingers had little spaces in here when they were trying to play tone. So you can get a fine tone without having to put your fingers together. I personally recommend not putting your fingers together for a tone unless you really can't get one and you have to. But it tires you out and it could eventually strain muscles and hurt tendons and stuff if you're really trying. And when you're playing your drum, if you're trying too hard and it hurts, stop. Nothing should hurt. If your hands get a little itchy, it's because the blood is starting to move inside. But if you have any neck problems or any shoulder problems, please be careful. The drum doesn't undo problems that you already have. It might make you feel better, but you could irritate something that's been troubling you in the past. Anything from low back pain to a nagging foot injury, to anything in the wrist or the fingers themselves, arthritis. Drumming tends to be good for arthritis. And then the wrist, of course, is the next joint. And most people don't have too much trouble with the wrist unless they've broken it at some point in their life. And then this is the part right here where people get really tight. And so if you can get somebody to dig their knuckles in, or you do it yourself, you can do it yourself. Just lay your hand flat right on the djembe and use your knuckles, and you can see my fingers are curling. That means I'm really getting in there. And that will help you play better and last longer and be in better position to play djembe. Same thing with this arm. I just switched them and I'm digging in with the knuckles You can dig in with anything you want. You know, I wouldn't use your child's head, but you could use anything you want. Like a kitchen implement would be good. A rolling pin, I don't know if that would work. Okay, so that's really important to get that all relaxed. And the outside, of course, if you're doing one muscle group, you should do the reciprocal muscle group. And right there, it's this one here. This is called the drummer's pain point. Right in there that you can find if you want to find it. It's very painful, but drummers have it. The more you've been drumming, the more, well, eventually it goes away a little bit, but, and just kind of, you know, not as hard because it will hurt more over here. But you want to get into that little groove and see if you can get that pain point to relax a little bit and then bring it down. So you're basically doing that. Okay. I'm hearing a little pop there, but that's the way it goes. And then your elbows, there's not much you can do about your elbows. You see me sometimes wearing a constraining elastic compression band. And I find that helps me. It helps me really remember that, you know, my elbows can cause me trouble. So I'd rather, you know, think about that and don't play so so hard. No, don't play hard. Sorry about that. So, yeah, let me play a Con up to speed. Let's go back to the chat room now and see what's going on.